The era of manual transmission sports cars is ending rapidly, but Cadillac wants to keep it alive for as long as possible. This is the refreshed 2025 Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing, and this might be the craziest and most awesome sedan that money can buy. Cadillac has refreshed the entire CT5 lineup. That includes the CT5V and the regular CT5, but in this video, I am going to be showing you the most performance-oriented version, the Blackwing, with some really impressive upgrades for the 2025 model year, and we're going to find out whether Cadillac's old school approach can keep up with the advanced stuff that BMW is doing with vehicles like the M5. Let's dive in. So immediately you're going to notice that the CT5V Blackwing has a lot of the same facial upgrades that you're going to get on the regular Cadillac CT5. I think that it draws a lot of inspiration from the old Cadillac CT6. I see a little bit of the CT4 in there as well, a little bit of lyric, honestly. Just a much more aggressive front end than the last model had. We've got a lot more going on with this light. You can see it kind of branches off down here and branches off that way. There's a lot going on here. We do have some carbon fiber packages on this cyber yellow one, which cyber yellow, what an incredible color this is. We've got the carbon fiber splitter down here. We've got some carbon fiber on this grille. I'm not the biggest fan of the facial upgrade. I honestly kind of preferred the pre-facelift model because I liked how simple the CT5 looked, but I don't dislike it either. I'm just saying I semi-prefer the pre-facelift model, but this is still a really cool looking car. You can get a couple of different wheel options here. I believe that a gray finish is going to be standard here, but we've got kind of this bronze finish here. Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, but you can also get Cup 2 tires on this car now. That's going to add a lot more grip. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. We also have a carbon ceramic brake package. That's going to be $9,000 separately, although you have to get it if you're going to get the new precision package, which comes with a lot of upgrades that we'll talk about a little bit later. That's another $9,000, so $18,000 all in for those two upgrades if you really care about the best performance. We've got our V Blackwing badge here. I believe that is a new badge for 2025. I believe that wasn't on there before. And then here at the back, we've got some slightly revised taillights. Again, we have more carbon fiber down here on the splitter. We have our V Blackwing badge, and we've got our nice V spoiler as well. This is just such an aggressive looking car, and it comes in some amazing colors for 2025. So here on the inside, we do have some big changes that we've got to talk about. First, I'm going to mention that these seats are an upgraded option. They are heated, ventilated, massage, power. You've got your loops here for your 4-point harness. We've got the V badge here. We've got some really nice stitching. You can get some good colors on this as well. But the important part about this upgrade is you get the nice carbon fiber backs. That just looks fantastic with the little V logo there. While I'm back here, I might as well mention that the back seat, I believe it has a little over 37 inches of legroom, so really not too bad. I think it's more than what you'd get in a BMW 3 Series. It's kind of between a 3 Series and a 5 Series in terms of space back here, but the bigger change that we've got to talk about is this new screen. It's very similar to the one that you'll find in like a Cadillac XT4, and it really dramatically changes the entire vibe of this cabin. You know, I complained that the outgoing CT5, any of them, the regular one all the way up to the Blackwing, just felt a little bit dated compared to some of the German competition. But now we've got this 33-inch curved OLED display powered by Google. So we have Google Entertainment here. You can talk to it. You can ask it all the questions. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, really nice graphics. We've got the performance data recorder. This thing is so cool. This will record all of your lap times. You can have like an overlay on it. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get it out on the racetrack, because we are at a racetrack out here in Atlanta. So that is really cool. You have it in the HUD as well, which is just so cool. You can even have a new function. It'll tell you your lap delta. So it'll tell you while you're on the track whether or not you're going faster or slower than your last lap. So just some really cool stuff going on here. We also have the gauges here, which you can change here on this little layout screen. Sorry, I got to show that. It's all the way over here on the left. So you can have this linked to the drive modes, or you can go ahead and change it manually. This is the Tour. I like the Sport mode with the big tachometer here in the middle, but you can also have the track gauge with two big tachometers, so you can really see when you're about to ping that red line. We do have our drive mode selector here on the steering wheel that you can go ahead and switch through different modes. We've got wet, dry, sport, race 1 and race 2, so a bunch of different ways to customize this car. We also have a V button, which you can program to whatever your favorite setting is going to be, and you can just kind of leave it there, which is really nice. They said they changed the HVAC controls a little bit. I don't notice them being that different, but they do look pretty nice. We do have plenty of buttons. You don't have to do everything on the touchscreen. And then here's the cool part. You can still get the Blackwing with a 6-speed manual transmission. You get this really cool shifter medallion here. You can also get this car with a 10-speed automatic, but I think you're missing out if you don't get the manual, because this is the thing that you can't get pretty much anywhere else, so that's what makes this car special. In terms of materials, it's not the nicest cabin. Like, I think an M5 definitely has a nicer cabin than this, but we do have some really nice carbon fiber as part of a package. We've got AKG speakers, 16 speaker on this car, and we do have the really nice camera system here. We also have a pretty nice moonroof that's going to open up on both sides, so it's kind of a split deal. So you have shades that open up, so the people in the back get their own sunroof, and then the people in the front get their own as well. So I like the improvements that they made to this. I thought the CT5V was definitely lagging behind a lot of the German competition, but I think this new screen definitely makes it a little bit more competitive. The materials could do with like a slight upgrade, but honestly, I'm not complaining given the rest of this car, that being the performance, is really why you're buying it. All right, so now that we've gone all over the boring stuff, the new touch screen and whatnot, let's get to the important part of the video. And let's drive the supercharged V8 manual, the last supercharged V8 manual sedan on the market, and find out whether or not it's still great. And I think I'll just spoil the entire video for you. Yes, it's still absolutely incredible. Now, for all the changes that they made to this car, they didn't really touch the powertrain, and I think that's completely fine. We still have a 6.2 liter LT4 supercharged V8. This is the same familiar motor that you get in the Escalade V. You used to get it in the C7 Corvette Z06. Produces 668 horsepower and 659 pound-feet of torque with a 10-speed automatic, or this 6-speed manual transmission, which is just the combination that, like I said, you can't really get anymore. Now, these numbers, they're not like world beating anymore. You can get more power from the hybridized BMW M5. I think you actually even get similar power from a 4-cylinder in the Mercedes C63. But it's all about how Cadillac delivers this power to you. That's what makes this car so special. I don't even need 668 horsepower. In fact, this car is honestly quite a bit of a handful out here on the road, even with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires here. Although you can get the Cup 2s, which will make it even more of a beast out on the road. What makes this car so enjoyable is the fact that I'm rowing my own gears. This transmission, one of the best manuals that you can still buy today. I love, just the throws are perfectly weighted. The shifter itself just falls so nicely into hand. The clutch is pretty heavy and a little bit long, but once you get used to it, I really don't think it's a problem. It's almost impossible to stall this car. It just has so much torque. So if you are planning on using it as a daily driver, don't be too afraid of getting the manual transmission because it is just so easy to drive. In terms of putting down good performance times, it has no lift shift, which I'm pretty sure GM invented that when it comes to road cars, and they've stuck with it ever since. And no lift shift, it's a little weird when you get used to it, just, being flat on the throttle and not having to lift off when you're shifting. But when you're trying to set the best lap times, it really does help. But like I said, as a daily driver, I think this thing it really hits the mark where a lot of the Germans are missing out right now. And that is, the road I'm on right now is not perfect, but I've got 19-inch wheels. I don't have 20s or 21s or anything too crazy like that. So the ride is absolutely amazing. We've got the precision package on this car, which includes quite a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and list it. We've got increased spring rates on the magnetic ride suspension. So we do have MagneRide here standard. We've got revised bushings. We've got a larger front stabilizer bar. We've got new steering knuckles. The rear suspension toe links are a little bit more aggressive if you're trying to do a track alignment, and they have retuned. This is the part that Cadillac is really adamant about. It's not just all of these upgrades, because maybe if you're like handy, you could do all of these upgrades to your own car. But what you're not going to be able to do is all of the tuning adjustments that they've done to the MagneRide dampers and to the limited slip diff. And they've also included carbon ceramic brakes. You do have to kind of pay for those. It's $9,000 for this precision pack, and then you have to spend an extra $9,000 to get the carbon ceramics. But that is kind of I think if you're going to do the precision package, I doubt that you don't want the carbon ceramics and vice versa. So I'm not really mad that they bundled all of that together. All of this to say that a car that was already pretty amazing on the track is going to be even better. And we'll soon see that when we get off the street and onto the racetrack. Now, I'm not going to lie. If you're not used to this level of power, this car can do some absolutely terrifying numbers in a very staggeringly short amount of time. You've got so much power on demand, and you have to be the one to use it responsibly because you're doing this all with a manual transmission. It is terrifying. I'm actually going to go ahead and put it into its race mode, and we're going to see if I can do a nice little launch here. Got a straight road ahead of me. Let's go. Oh my God. So that was 0 to 60 in 3.86 seconds. I definitely didn't use launch control or anything there. I just kind of dumped the clutch, and I am definitely not the best performance driver out there, but that's pretty close to Cadillac's claim time of 3.4 seconds with the manual. I have a feeling I'll be even quicker if I can do the same thing with the automatic. But it's really not that hard. I thought I would have a much trickier time launching this car, and first time off the go, really didn't have that much. There is a little bit of a learning curve. You kind of got to get used to all the different drive modes and stuff like that. It is a little bit too close to what BMW does in that respect, at least to me. You do have to kind of get used to all of it. But there's something that you just don't get with a BMW M5 or a Mercedes E63 or an Audi RS6, any of those cars. This is not only, I think, more comfortable than most of those. I'm in race mode right now, and this thing is not beating the crap out of me suspension-wise. It still rides really well. Small wheels, thank you so much. But the steering is just as good as I could ever want it to be in a sedan. In fact, there's a lot of sports cars that don't get it this good. This chassis, it's related to the Alpha chassis that underpinned the last generation CTS-V and the ATS-V. It's just one of the best chassis that GM has ever made. And it's sad that I don't know how much longer you're going to be able to buy this chassis. Luckily, Cadillac just facelifted this CT5, so I feel like the platform has to have a couple more years worth of legs in it, but it's not going to be around forever. And once it's gone, I feel like everything is going to be built more in the BMW and AMG mold. All-wheel drive, automatic, hybrid, dead steering feel. and no manual transmission. Whoa! Oh my God, carbon ceramic brakes. Those work really, really well too. I don't know if it's possible to have more fun driving a 4-door car that can fit your whole family perfectly comfortable than this. I don't think it exists. I don't know if it has ever existed, if I'm being honest. What I think I'm driving right now is the pinnacle of 4-door sports sedans. I don't know if it's ever been as good as this, and I don't know if it ever will be again. If you can afford a Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing right now, I definitely would go buy it. This is one of the most entertaining cars out there. Period. All right, so now we're going to hit the track in the CT5-V Blackwing. I've grabbed an automatic because this is actually my first time driving an automatic Blackwing. And I've grabbed the one without the precision package because I want to see how much quicker my lap time is going to be with and without it. So first lap out, we're just going to take it kind of chill. As chill as you can be in a car like this. Oh my God. The automatic transmission, it shifts so well. This thing really rips. I did have a chance to drive it out on the street earlier, and although the manual is kind of like the most special part about this car, I don't think you lose all that much getting the automatic because it's still blisteringly fast. The carbon ceramic brakes are incredible on this car. We've got Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. So a few times on the track, you really have to make sure you've got that wheel straight before you're putting the power down. And then as well in the braking, you've got to make sure, because it squiggles a little bit under heavy braking, but it still feels pretty solid. I've got so much feedback from the steering. This is how a car should feel on the track, if I'm being honest. I've driven so many other big, heavy sedans, and this thing just shrinks around you. We've got this increasing radius turn here. I'm going about 70 through it. Now, this is where I would like to have those Cup 2 tires. I got up to about 90 here. Pretty good. Now I can get onto the power a little bit. This track, Atlanta Motorsports Park, doesn't have the biggest straightaways ever. Onto the carbon ceramics. It's about as much as I want to go. Oh my God, I could have gone way later into the braking zone there. No problems at all. Gotta be careful on that throttle. It's just so easy to overpower the wheels. But I'm gonna go ahead and say, whew, CT5-V Blackwing, even without the precision package, this thing is an absolute track monster. Pushing wide a little bit. But the big question is, how much quicker will I go when I get into the performance precision package? All right, so now I've hopped out of the automatic car that did not have the precision package and into another automatic car that does have it. And in between those two laps, I actually got to drive a manual car with the precision package. And my first lap time without it was about a 141. And with the manual, which should theoretically be slower than the automatic, I got it down to like a 134. So we're talking 6 or 7 seconds faster with the manual transmission, which I'm not nearly as good with. So the big upgrade here is going to be the Pilot Cup 2 tires. Oh my God, you don't have to worry about getting onto the throttle as late. You can do it with a little bit of turn in, and you just have so much more confidence in the traction. You can take the corners so much hotter with these tires. And then all of the suspension changes as well. I mean, I don't know if I can really feel those quite as much as I feel the difference that the tires make, but you will see the change when you go into your performance data recorder and you see the lap times. I saw just such massive improvement. I'm able to carry so much more speed. If you are planning to track your Blackwing, you gotta get the precision pack. It makes a universe of difference. All right, so that's going to wrap up our time with the 2025 Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing. If you're in the market for one of these, you're going to be starting at about $95,000. You got to add a lot of packages, so you can easily cross over 100 grand in this car, but that's not surprising given that vehicles like the BMW M5 can hit $130,000, $140,000. That's not why you're buying one of these. You're buying one of these because you get an experience that really isn't offered from anywhere else anymore. A supercharged V8 engine going to the rear wheels only with a manual transmission option. And now they've just improved it even more. That precision package is epic. You can still get it with the 6-speed manual transmission. That screen makes the interior feel like you're actually spending $100,000, whereas the outgoing model really felt like it was based on a $40,000 car with a big engine. So I love all of the improvements that they've made to this car. Top tip, if you can't afford one of these, if you're just stretching a little bit too far, I did also have a chance to drive the Cadillac CT5-V, the non-Blackwing model, 360 horsepower from a twin turbocharged V6. You'll pay about $56,000 for that, and you can add some upgrades. You'll be at about 60 grand. It doesn't come with a manual, but you can get all-wheel drive on that if you live somewhere where it snows a lot. Really fun car, sounds great, rides great, just like the Blackwing does. Comes with all the same interior upgrades. It's not nearly as fast, but it does sound really good, this V6. I promise you, you might really like that if you're cross-shopping with something like the BMW M340i or Mercedes C43. I really implore you to go check out the CT5-V. I can't say enough good things about it, and I think it is really overlooked in that segment. But let me know what you think of the CT5-V Blackwing. Would you buy one over the new BMW M5 with its plug-in hybrid drivetrain? I want to hear from you in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. I'll see you next time.